Here we go in action.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Howdy. What's going on, everybody? We're a Rude Barn. This is the Rude Barn podcast, and this is where we comment on topics from personal, local, and national, international happenings. Sometimes with a little bit of humor, sometimes with a little bit of cynicism, just to keep it fun. But we would like to enlighten people on what is going on and our take on things, to try to give a neutral view and kind of let people kind of understand what we're thinking on different topics. And the bottom line is pretty much no one's safe. We will ridicule, we will chastise, we will make fun of anyone and everyone if needed, and we will. Let's get into it, brother.
All right, I'm the Rude.
I am the Barn. Now we're going to talk about
afternoon.
What's that?
I said, how you doing this afternoon?
You know, I'm doing pretty well. It's a Friday. You gotta love it. And it's a beautiful day out there, and we're just having a good time. And we got some stuff to talk about.
Some recent developments.
Was there anything that happened yesterday?
Oh my God.
Exciting at all? I don't know. So, I'm here at the office. All of a sudden, somebody ran up. Hey, Trump just got indicted on 37, not indicted. He got found guilty on 34
counts.
34 counts of, what was it? Oh, that's right. Mislabeling an accounting error, or doing an accounting error for supposed campaign finance funds, which this all seems like a big stretch.
You know, that whole thing, and mind you, I didn't see the list, and I don't know if the list came out of what the actual line items were.
Right.
Each count, right? So, right. But I know the big one, because what it sounded like to me is all these things were wrapped into this one real issue. Yeah. Was the payoff to the prostitute, right?
Right.
And I was talking to my dad about that yesterday, and he's pretty fired up about this whole thing. So we were having a pretty good chat about it, and I thought to myself, wait. If you're a prostitute, okay, and nothing wrong with that. If you want to make money that way in the sex industry,
I've dabbled. I've dabbled. I'm just saying.
More power to you. You know what I mean? And if you can get it done, make your money. You know what I mean? Don't hurt anybody in the process. Exactly. Great. I'm all for it. However, okay, if her body it is considered part of her business, if her phone is part of her business, if her bank account is part of her business, whether she has a established business name or not, that would go under like a DBA, right? Doing business as. So,
or some sort of little corporation, S corp, maybe.
Yeah, her computer's part of her business. Her purse is part of her business. So, literally, any way that you can contact her to do any sort of business, whether solicit
whatever
services,
transaction would
be. Whatever transaction it may be, maybe to do whatever. That's a business transaction, is it not?
Well, it would seem to be. I mean, I'm no accountant, but
I mean,
probably.
I'm not a smart man, but I think logical. You know what I mean? Most of the time, and I think that makes me pretty straight and narrow.
Not dumb. Right.
Yeah, not dumb. I'm not a genius, but I'm not dumb. Jesus.
I'm not an idiot. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a starving artist, but I'm not dumb.
Right. Can't accuse me of being. Well, you can accuse me of being a moron, but doesn't hold a whole lot of water, I would imagine. Although I'm sure there's some people out there that would probably disagree. But that's
one thing that I didn't hear come up in everything that I heard yesterday, and all the back and forth. I watched like 4 or 5 different podcasts. I watched like 5 or 6 different news, broadcasts of it and all this kind of stuff, and nobody brought that up. Everything from except for the MSNBC. And I think I saw one more that were really, and then the one that you sent me that we're getting ready to play right now. Those were the only ones that we really were questioning and kind of brought some of the info to light that people may not know about and people may not understand, that was going on there. And the corruption that went on. And
What are you talking about, Rude?
everything else was fucking propaganda bullshit. But speaking of corruption, go and play the clip. Let's see it.
All right, let's jump into this. Now, before I start playing that, though, I do want to state that this is this whole trial should never even occurred. Okay,
Yeah.
Who goes to trial for an accounting error that they call it? You mislabeled something, or somebody thought you mislabeled something as a legal expense, which it was if the attorney was paying her to, and it doesn't matter whether you think he's guilty or not of sleeping with her. And I don't know. She did state at one point that they didn't ever sleep together. I don't know. She keeps changing her story. But you pay an NDA or hush money to someone, and it's an NDA. People, come on. The media is throwing out the hush money to make it sound nefarious.
Well, like they met in an alley and he had a duffel bag full of fucking wrapped hundreds.
Yeah,
I mean, get the fuck out of it. It's not what it was.
Right. And so this is basically, I mean, can you imagine you or anybody going to jail in a trial, even before jail, having a trial because you mislabeled something in your accounting? Don't you get like a fine at the most, or wouldn't you get like, okay, you need to fix that up so your records are correct now? I mean, what the hell is this Alvin Bragg, partisan hack DA in New York City who has a vendetta just like Letitia James did?
He was the only one that would take it. Even the Fed wouldn't take it because
there's nothing there.
Well, not only that, but they said that it would interfere with the election or campaigns, and that
you mean the erection?
That's unconstitutional.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, but this fucking guy took it on because I would like to see his bank account and see what kind of push money he got to take this case on, or to go forward with it. And but another question though too is, okay, so the expense was mislabeled. Trump has a guy for that. It's not like he mislabeled it himself.
Yeah. Well, he has his gal, his accountant, which of course he says is the greatest accountant ever. But I guarantee you she was probably really good, because if you have that kind of money and you have these kind of things always going, you're going to make sure you have the best people. Now we can question some of his defense team and what their strategy was on this stuff, but I'll tell you, he probably has accountants that know what the hell they're doing, and she is the expert. She is the one that would say, no, that's not really a legal expense. We need to mark it down as XYZ, whatever it is. Right.
So if they're working on behalf of him, where is the line, the fine line between the accountability?
Yeah.
How does all of the how does that all fall on him?
Exactly. And these are questions that we're asking because I don't know, you don't know, most people don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, this, Bragg turned this, and he turned this thing into a nothing burger from a decade ago, and twisted it and turned it and made it into some sort of felony 34 times.
Yeah.
How in the fuck does that happen?
Especially when it's past 7 years, the statute of limitations, probably.
Yeah, it should be 7 years. This was in 2014, I believe. So
yeah, that's
10 years ago.
That's what most things are. But at the same time,
I mean, oh my God, this guy is a fucking Merlin the Magician here. This guy is David Copperfield turning shit into something crazy. And this is the thing. People who hate Trump, all you Trump haters out there, and these are friends of ours. Love you guys, but you really have to stop for a second and say, well, wait a minute, hold on. It doesn't matter whether it's Trump. It doesn't matter if you hate this guy, you loathe him, or you love him, or you like him, whatever. The bottom line is this has been turned into a major lawfare, warfare against a DNC opponent, the Biden's opponent, and it doesn't even matter if it's him. The fact that we're doing this and we're setting this precedent is just going fireworks. I mean, you don't think the Republicans are going to turn around and do this next time they're in power and go after, And remember, Trump did not put Hillary in jail.
Oh yeah,
and he said lock her up, and he didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't put Obama in jail for the drone strikes, the illegal drone strikes in Syria, where they oddly enough killed a lot of people, a lot of innocent people, in case you didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do that. Obama didn't even go after Bush, and for him, for Abu Ghraib and other things like that were bad. They easily could have done it. You just don't do this. So for Biden to do this, everyone who hates Trump, stop with your Trump derangement syndrome. Get rid of your TDS for 1 minute and realize the larger ramifications of this whole thing.
Right.
And realize the timing on this. Does this not reek of just foul play? I mean, it's. I'm in Denmark, and man, it really stinks.
I mean, if you can't see that, even if you are on the far, far left, and if you cannot see or at least acknowledge in the back of your head that you will never tell anybody that this is a gross misuse of the justice system and a blatant witch hunt, then you, my friend, you're lying to yourself, and you are part of the problem. You know what I mean?
Well, and I equate this, and I've talked to you about this before. I equate it to a sports fan who sits there and the refs call it against their opponent, and you're like, yes, yeah, he really, I got good, get it, yeah, he get that foul, get that extra 10 yards out of there, or get that for extra free throw, whatever sport, whatever you're talking about. Mm-hmm. It's the people who can sit there and say, "Oh, yeah, we got away with that one, but he really did foul him."
That one by. We got lucky on that one.
Yeah, those are the people. That's how you have to think of this whole thing. You can't sit there and go, "Oh yeah, we're getting all the calls and they're getting everything against them and all that stuff, and we're thrilled to death about it." And hey, as long as we get the victory, that is the wrong kind of attitude. And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like Trump, who are talking about this as this is the greatest thing. This guy is the biggest, most evil piece of shit out there and all of that. And you just want to sit there and say, okay, stop. He's still a human being. And it's not just him. It's if they can go after him for this, don't you think they can probably go after you?
Oh my God.
Think about that.
Well, it opens up the floodgate.
Right.
You know what I mean? To just kind of throw out the Constitution and legal processes, just whatever the fuck you feel like.
We don't need that. That is just a piece of paper, and
that piece of paper is let's do it this way.
Yeah,
and
it's like
for
we
him
got to get this guy, so we're gonna just throw out the Constitution, throw out the law and everything, and just do what we can to get rid of this guy because he is a pariah. He is an evil. He's going to destroy the world. But you know what? Look at what Biden has been doing to this country, you guys. 43 million, they're estimating. At least 10 to 15 million illegally have come into this country since he's been in office. And estimates are anywhere up, could be 40, 43 million, 45 million people. That's a lot of people in this country illegally. And the myriad of other things that he's done, the laptop from hell from Hunter, his dealings with China and Russia, just on and on and on. But Trump's accounting error is worth going to the court for and indicting him and finding him guilty of 34 counts.
I wonder how long it took them to find that needle in the haystack.
That's a good question. It's taken at least 3.5 years, 3 years to get to this point.
I've been working on it for 3 years.
Can you imagine? Russia. They actually never found any Russian collusion as much as everybody, you people who think that's true. It's not true. They never found any sort of connection there.
None.
But I hate Trump so badly. I hate this guy. Yeah, he was guilty of Russian collusion. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. No, he actually wasn't. Oh, yes, he was. This is the type of attitude that really needs to stop. it's like, calm down for a minute. If Trump truly did something, absolutely, he should be punished like anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he didn't, and they haven't found anything, and this is twisted, and this is what we're going to get into in this video, how much just at the end here, not to mention keep the gag order. I'm sorry, you can't. Somebody has the right to say, you know what, I'm not getting a fair trial here. I think the judge is really biased against me. And it doesn't matter if he says, "Oh, the judge is the devil." He can say anything he fucking wants to. It's the First Amendment of the Constitution. The gag order is basically illegal.
Well, that's the first strike against a fair trial.
Yeah.
And the second strike, I think, was was what was it? I can't remember the numbers. Some organization, news organization, whatever, were counting the sustains.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I think, I mean, it was grossly over, you know what I mean, overweighted.
Objection.
Um,
Objection.
yeah, he
Sustained.
didn't. Yeah, he sustained basically every single one of the prosecutions. Yeah, yeah, objections. But like maybe two of the defense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everything else was slammed.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
the door was slammed on.
and I didn't watch the trial. You didn't watch the trial. We just watched highlights. But from what we understand from people who are reporting honestly on this whole thing, that there was major bias in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then here at the end, this gal from MSNBC, and even MSNBC, that's right, MSNBC, is looking at this going, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, this is not right. The jury should have received the instructions, 55 pages.
55 pages.
That's a lot of pages. That's a lot of instruction. Basically, it was all set up to focus you down a road for a guilty verdict, from what I gather. I haven't read the whole thing, but there are segments they'll put in here. And it's just amazing to me how they asked the judge no less than 3 times to get the instructions so they can figure this out. What I'm shocked by, not really, it's New York. What I'm baffled about, but not really, is why there wasn't at least one juror saying, wait a minute, why are we not getting these instructions? Why is this being this way? Something seems off. At least why are there no questions being asked about that? So when you look at this and listen to this gal, hopefully it makes you at least ask some questions.
There was no questions because they were all libs. You know what I mean?
Right.
They didn't care.
This wasn't a fair trial to begin with.
Yeah.
You had a biased judge whose daughter works for the DNC. He has blatantly, apparently, had said something that he really can't stand Trump. So he's already a Trump hater. So he should have been recused himself a long time ago, because also his daughter works at the DNC.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just on and on. You're in Manhattan. You're in a liberal bastion. You are not. These are not a jury of his peers. I'm no attorney, but isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, no kidding.
At least half of them should be on your side. And why didn't his defense team weed out some of these people because you're supposed to be able to find, okay, I want that person. Do you both agree? Prosecution and defense, you both agree upon that. Well, the prosecution doesn't get to agree to have who they only want, and the defense doesn't get who they want. It doesn't work that way from what I gather. So that was bullshit as well. So let's get into the video and just listen to what is being said. And please watch how messed up this is. And if you are a Trump hater and you can't stand this guy, I implore you to just look at this fairly and flip the script. If this were Biden on trial and it was in some sort of red state where everybody was against him, would you bitch and complain that this is not fair? Or would you just say, oh, just par for the course, yeah, it's our team. I don't care what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Okay.
Lies from the mainstream media, it has just completely turned off so many people, so many voters like myself from all of the, the witch hunt that they're going on. But speaking of witch hunt, if you know about what's going on with Judge Merchan, or maybe you don't, let me show you this.
I got it. These are the instructions that the jury has to follow in Donald Trump's hush money trial before they can reach a verdict. 53 pages. This is complicated. This is lengthy stuff. It took the judge over an hour to read it. But guess what? The jury doesn't get this in the room during deliberations.
They're supposed to
write questions, they write notes, but they don't get these instructions. In New York, both parties have to agree and the judge has to agree. In this case, it didn't happen. They don't have this in the room right now.
So this is what this guy just posted. It says here, get Judge Merchan trending right now. The entire effing world needs to see what this punk, a criminal of a judge, is doing. He's trying to force the jury to wrongfully convict Trump. It says just in, Judge Juan Merchan just got exposed for his corruption by the jury. And now we know why he broke tradition and didn't give written instruction to the jury. Yesterday, the jury asked for a repeat of specific instruction, and Merchan decided to just send them.
Say that again.
I said this is wild. What's coming up? This is wild.
Oh yeah, no. This is absolute insanity, and you have to look at this from an unbiased perspective and just say, okay, flip it. If it happened the other way around onto Biden or whatever, would this be fair? So if you are going to ask that question, are you going to get upset? Because if it were Biden and this were happening, you have to turn it around and give Trump the benefit of this doubt, because that is how it's supposed to work. Right now, we cannot have a one-sided court system, justice system, because somebody's going to get screwed. Half the country is going to get screwed because of somebody's political bias. It's not supposed to be that way.
People would be burning down cars in the street right now if it was flipped the other way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not
exactly.
Justice. Misuse.
Yeah, it'd be anarchy in this country, and it would be crazy. So continuing on.
Them home. So instead of giving them the instructions again, he just sent them home after they made this request.
The fuck?
Today, we now know what it was they wanted repeated. It was a metaphor from Judge Merchan in which he said, suppose you wake up in the morning and it's not raining, but the streets are wet and people are wearing raincoats and holding umbrellas. Under those circumstances, you may conclude that it rained during the night. The judge is essentially telling the jury that even though they don't see proof of a crime, it's reasonable to assume one occurred.
What do they call that?
It's insane.
Circumstantial evidence.
It's all circumstantial. Nothing. That is so fucking terrible.
If you wake up in your bed one night and you got piss all over your face, but the guy who may have peed in your face is not there, did he actually pee in your face?
It's reasonable to assume, I guess.
I don't want to be crass about my example, but good Lord, that's basically what this is. You're right, dude. It's just, this is absolute insanity.
That blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. To think that that's even a possibility. That a judge would say that.
This guy's a joke.
How is that fucking guy employed?
How has he not been disbarred and taken off?
On that statement alone, that he sent a metaphor to the jury to consider on this case should be grounds enough for him to be disbarred.
Remove him from a judgeship. He should never be able to practice law again. Disbar him. He should never be able to be a judge again. Same with that Engeron asshole who did the same shit to Trump for the documents case. Took off his glasses when the camera came out. It's like, oh my God, dude. What the fuck is this? Yeah, no, it's insane. So yeah, we'll continue on because there's more.
This is next level corruption. Though this judge, his daughter, and the entire prosecution in jail, we know that his daughter also has worked on the Biden campaign, she's a staunch Democrat. So it's just absolutely insane. But let me show you some more. In what's going on, it says the Trump jury just handed Judge Mershon a third note asking for clarification on jury instruction.
3 times they've asked, we need the instructions, and he didn't give it to him. Once, didn't give it to him.
Why wouldn't you?
Second time, where's the jury? Where's the instruction? We don't know how to proceed. Third time, no. What the hell? What do you expect us to do? The only thing that he could do is when he talked to them for an hour and explained the thing is to basically take him down that road to conviction.
Mhm.
It's all a setup. It's all a scam. I'm sorry. All you Trump haters, you need to wake up and realize, and I love you. We can disagree. I'll still have a beer with you, and that's what this is all about. But you have to realize the major ramifications of this.
Well, and how far they went to fucking cheat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How far is
Trump
ridiculous.
is a criminal. They didn't cheat. They're going after. Oh my God.
Fuck, the only criminals here sounds like this judge and fucking jury and fucking prosecution. That's they said that's who the criminals sound like right now.
Oh yeah. Well, and I love how going back to the Engeron, the other judge who was also just like this guy, except he likes to be on TV and he's a Bernie Sanders wannabe with his hair and shit like that. But it's like you sit there and Biden even does the same thing, blames Trump for the documents. Like, I'm sorry, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., you, my friend, were never president until now. So all of the documents that you had in your locked garage and the Biden Penn Center or whatever it is, and the other couple places where these boxes are falling apart, you weren't even supposed to have those classified documents. Vice presidents do not get to have those documents. Only the president, because the president is the only one who can unclassify them or declassify them. So for Biden to start calling Trump out for that and Engeron to do the same shit that this Mershon is also doing, and you don't sit here and think that there's something up with this trial, with this other trial, with everything going on with Trump right now, trying to keep him off the campaign trail. It is corruption beyond anything that we've ever seen. And now even MSNBC, this guy that's up on the screen here, she's going to play right now, even they're going, wait a minute, something's not right here. We can't go down this road and continue the destruction of our justice system. So I'll continue on.
They have delivered an additional note here this morning clarifying what parts of jury instruction they want read back to them this morning inside of this courtroom. You'll recall that yesterday, before court closed for the day and before jury deliberation day number 1 ended, this jury requested to have parts of the jury instruction read back to them. Now, it took an hour and 26 minutes yesterday to do that. This is where it's articulated what the law is that they are looking to determine Donald Trump's guilt over, but as well as the extent to which they are able to draw inferences from facts that were stated in this case. And Judge Mershon has indicated, based off of this new note delivered by the jury here in the last just 5 minutes, that they'd like pages 7 through 35 read back to them. So if you do the math, that should take us about 45 minutes. They also requested to have 4 different parts of witness testimony, specifically from David Pecker and Michael Cohen, read back to them here this morning.
Michael Cohen, the lying sack of shit who's been convicted of lying, even though he's a former attorney for Trump, he's a convicted liar.
Mm-hmm.
And people were believing him. Stormy Daniels, not convicted, but she's very uncredible and switched her story. But she was believed, and everybody's like, oh, justice for Stormy. Yay, she finally got her day in court. Oh my God. I mean, this is a disgusting human being, porn star, who I hesitate even saying the thing she said one time. Was like, I'm just going to say it, and if you want, you can cut it out right here in post, and I'm just going to say it. But she said, You say I'm a cum dumpster like that's a bad thing. It is. It is. You are just a disgusting human being.
In these circles, it is.
Yeah.
In your line of work, maybe not. But for what we're talking about, you can't label yourself as that and then expect some sort of I guess respect
Right.
in the in these circles.
See.
No, you can't. I mean, it's
Yeah, you can't have it both
it's
ways.
mud and water, or it's oil and water. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Plus the
And I'm
fact that
sorry, but that's what you chose.
yeah. Well, plus the fact that I believe she's switched her story about whether she actually slept with Trump or not. Because I think one time she said she didn't. She never did.
Yeah, I heard that too, that she said
Yeah.
she never did.
And then conveniently she switched her story. And then during this trial, she said that they did. But regardless of the fact, again, like I mentioned before, regardless of the fact that he may or may not have, you make her sign an NDA because if she were to take it to court or something else were to happen, you're just saying, you know what, it's cheaper for me to just pay you some money, call it good, and say you can't say anything about this. That's what the NDA is all about, non-disclosure agreement, and call it good. It doesn't mean I'm guilty, doesn't mean anything. It just means I'm paying you to just zip it, keep it quiet. It doesn't matter because I'd rather just settle it, pay you off for something because it's going to be cheaper than going to court and dealing with the press and all the stuff that he's going through right now. And the fact that this was an NDA, the fact that this was a mislabeled line item or whatever on the accounting report being legal fees, which is basically what it was. The fact that he even came to this is just asinine.
Yeah.
And outrageous.
Well, so the NDA, the breaking of the NDA right there, that's a legal document. You know what I mean? It's a legal binding document.
Yeah.
And once that's broken, then the whole damn thing should have been thrown out.
Yeah. Well, isn't that why she owed Trump?
She owed him $500,000.
Wasn't that the reason? Is because she broke
I
the
am not
NDA
positive. I
else?
heard that, but and this is from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it probably is. Probably breaking that NDA. Probably the fine for that was probably $500,000. And to think that, okay, well, she's never going to be able to come up with that. I mean, maybe she's that successful. That's great. And that's fine. However, that's a fucking hit. Even to a multimillionaire. So you've got, you're working on 2-3 million, maybe net worth.
Right. Yeah.
$500,000. That's a fucking punch in the gut.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because most of that shit's tied up in assets. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's not cash. It's
you don't have
paper.
Cash bricks in your fucking in your basement.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have that E. Jean Carroll author lady, whoever the hell she is, that nobody knows. And then she tried to tell everybody that Trump took advantage of her in a changing room in a mall or a store or whatever.
Well, it's kind of one of those things. It's like when the Kobe thing came out. You know what I mean? Everything, every fucking person, every person that ever came in contact, every woman, whoever came in contacted him, who he ever looked at, came out of the wood. Came out of the woodwork to try to fucking profit off of it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so you have that one, you have this one, you have the documents trial, you have all this other shit against Trump. And you people out who hate Trump think that there's nothing wrong. It's his business as usual, that Trump did all this shit.
Dude, I think that his new campaign song should be like Eye of the Tiger. You know what I mean? And he should just come out like rock in the 80s, bro. He's just like, you're a bad rock. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No shit.
That's gotta be it, man. I hope the powers that be are listening.
Yeah, I think they've got something going on. So anyway, let's see what else this guy has to say.
We expect that to look like about 35 pages of testimony
35.
that relates to conversations that took place between Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, and David Pecker in 2015, 2016. For the prosecution, that is at the beginning of what they allege to be the beginning of the conspiracy to hatch this catch and kill scheme. That is expected to take about 40 minutes to read back. So court here this morning, at least to start the day, should look like a little bit of what court has looked like here in the past. Is the jury, as well as the defendant, Donald Trump, will be in the courtroom to read back some of these notes because they do not actually have this entire packet of jury instructions in front of them. So if they want clarification, they must request Judge Merchan to read back and clarify for them. And they have a laptop in their possession, which we should note they just requested headphones so they can listen to some of the audio exhibits that were a part of this trial. But particularly not what is on that laptop includes the actual transcripts of the witness testimony. So if they want any of what David Pecker said back in April or Michael Cohen said 2 weeks ago, read back to them, they've got to request it. And that has to be read back to them inside of this courtroom. So that could indicate, based off of the jury's notes so far, that this may not be a quick decision, but we could see just what that may look like here come a little bit later this morning. And if any additional.
So they are not given, not only do they not have instructions, they are supposedly have one laptop with headphones for 12 jurors so that they can, if they need to figure out something, they have to go back and search themselves through any type of testimony if they want.
What Melanie doesn't understand is they can't afford more than one laptop. We've sent all of our money to Ukraine.
You're a cynic.
And we've given illegals $10,000 Visa debit cards so that they can buy diapers and food and then complain about the hotel rooms in the freaking Ritz-Carlton that they're living in because it's not up to their standards and they must have their food. I don't understand why she doesn't get that. Of course, we can only afford one laptop and one set of headphones for 12 jurors to go through. Oh my God.
So I got a question for you. So what do you think the motivation of that was? Because, you know, I was thinking about this after you sent me that video that, you know, the limitations that they put on the jury, other than the metaphor,
which is just
why
awesome.
do you think that they put those limitations on so they mentally would just kind of keep falling back to the metaphor and just have to rely on the mental notes and the physical notes that they took? What do you think? What was the purpose of that?
Metaphor?
Of that? Yeah, no, of the lockdown of information.
Oh, I think that it was to take away all reference and questions about certain things that they may have had. So you throw the metaphor reference in there, and in the back of their heads, okay, everybody can think, oh, okay, rain. I mean, everybody can remember that.
Right. Okay. And everybody knew what he was talking about with the metaphor.
So when they wanted to refer to certain parts of the testimony, certain parts of the trial, and the witnesses' testimonies, they didn't want to put that back there because there may have been one or two little things that somebody could have pulled out of
that confirmed the circumstance,
right?
Circumstantial, that it was circumstantial,
or that it was misleading,
evidence.
or there was a lie, right? Right. And so if I keep that little bit of lie away from you, and you can't remember it because there's so much that was just thrown at these jurors, you're not going to remember all that. And then when you ask for it once, twice, three times a lady to get these things from them, and you don't get them, all you have is like, well, if there's evidence of a crime and the raincoats and the people on the umbrellas and on the street, and well, I guess it's probable that there was a crime here and we should probably convict him. But I really want to see that a third, fourth time. I really want to see, because I remember there might have been something that didn't make sense. You keep that from me, I never have that, so therefore I don't have the information to make a decision over.
And are we talking about one crime that has 34 different pieces to it, like substantial pieces to it that he had to have done wrong. He did all of these certain things. They all count as felonies. I don't understand.
I don't understand that.
I mean, I want to see the line items so much, because I'm sure if the jury saw the line items and they didn't even know what they were fucking convicting for, or not convicting, but they didn't even know what they were fucking deliberating for until, what was it, like the last, I heard a story, it was like the last hour of the deposition.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It's all
like they didn't even know what the fucking crime was.
right.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Man.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, let's
Beyond
listen to
me.
the last little bit of this for a minute here, and then move on. Oh, sorry.
Something read to them, the actual, like something specific. Instead of being able to comb through and research it, they have to go back to court every single time they need to hear about any testimony. They are having pages 7 through 35 reread to them for their jury instructions, totally read back to them for a third time. This is how you know how corrupt this actual case was, how it currently is, and how this judge is out of order. This judge is corrupt and biased. I mean, clearly we knew bias, but to have these, one of the most important case going on right now, and really certainly in New York history and in the country, this is what they are doing. These are the games that they're playing, because they want to ensure some type of conviction for Trump, regardless of the evidence, regardless of Michael Cohen lying, regardless of anything else. They are rigging this and setting it up so that they can get the results that they want. Not that it will matter. It's not going to affect the election. In fact, I think it's actually going to help Trump, but then I also think it can be overturned. But it looks like they have 100% set this up so that they can get a guilty verdict, regardless of the evidence, regardless of the terrible witnesses, the lies that were told on the stand. And then they're also forcing Trump to be in court while the jury deliberates. Like, this is unheard of. The things that they are requiring, the hoops that they are trying to get him to jump through in order for them to make sure that they steal and that they dishonestly get a conviction. But hopefully the jury sees past this. I know the American people are outraged. If this was any other person on trial for these ridiculous charges, number one, but two, even with the evidence that's there, and Michael Cohen being the star witness, this convicted liar,
star witness,
convicted of perjury, convicted of crimes, admitted to stealing from Trump, admitted to hiding evidence. I mean, all types of things. The fact that this is what would be the linchpin to convict him of this. If this was a normal American citizen, there will be protests in the street. But of course, because it's Trump and the mainstream media have spinned it this way, they're just letting it go. They're just, they're happy to see him crucified. But even here from MSNBC, they cannot believe that this is actually what's going on, and that how ridiculous this jury's been handled by this very, very corrupt judge. Guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Also, the new Trump ad campaign. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification.
She just goes on to her thing. So anyway.
Dude, just imagine if Trump was like mulatto or like fully black. Dude, this country would be on fire right now.
Yeah.
Like literally, there would be fires in the fucking streets.
I know, crazy,
insane.
Anyway, yeah. So it's just nuts, and I think that hopefully people see this logically and realize we can't have things happen like this. So all right, well let's head on to the next topic here in a minute. We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back.
All right.